We are live in all the places. Let's check. Cool. YouTube good. Kick good. Twitch good. Kick good. Twitch good. Okay. We don't need that. Okay. There we go. Turn you off. Okay, good. All right. All the things. Okay, first things first today. New study out this week from MIT that says 95% of AI pilot projects are failing. Here's the deal though. When you read under the covers, it doesn't say AI is the problem. Just like every other failed IT project, the problem is not the technology. AI is fine. It is how people are trying to implement it in an uneducated manner. So they are, as you can imagine, just trying to slap things together, and surprise, surprise, that doesn't work. So as you can see, we have a new article posted. It's big time now. It's on Fortune. But there's an MIT study under the covers that you're not going to have a hard time finding that, so don't worry about that. But it does talk about this real learning gap that is happening. Everybody is running towards AI, jumping in both feet first, proclaiming it's going to drive all this change. And the definitive change that they're looking for in this study is, does it actually affect revenue? Does it allow you to do things with less effort? Does it allow you to generate new revenue? 95% of the time, no. There is a small subset in targeted areas where it is fundamentally making a difference. But for most people out there, AI is not moving the needle. It's a bit of a distraction right now. But that's right now. We're early. We are months into this adoption across the entire industry. AI has been around for years, without a doubt. We've known that. I've built AI products for years myself. But this mass adoption really is only months old. So don't worry if you're out there and you're saying, oh my gosh, AI is not working for us. You're not alone. It's the norm. Give it time. You'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Everything will be fine. The key is to close the learning gap. So keep learning. Keep tuning into streams or TikTok accounts or whatever it is like this one. We are all learning together, and the best way for you to get better at something is to learn by doing, and that's what we do here on this channel. Okay, so we covered that. I don't think there's a lot more for us to go into. Go back. Is this the original article? Yeah. One of the key drivers for those that are successful versus aren't. So the 95 versus the 5%. The 5% that are successful, they're using AI in very targeted approach. So they find a specific pain point where AI can make a difference and they apply it there. Most of the failures, the 95% that are talked about in the article and in the study, are when they just apply AI to everything. So we're just going to throw AI at something. We're going to throw it at sales and marketing. We're going to do this. It's going to solve all of our problems. That's when AI struggles. I've said time and time again that AI is fantastic when its context is narrow, when its scope is small, and this study proves it even more. You will be successful with AI if you have a narrow, targeted ask for it to go attempt to solve. If you ask it to solve all of the things, it's going to struggle. That's just how it's built. That's how it is. That's the current state. So find that very specific, that very narrow workflow, use case, whatever it might be, within your company, within your product, within your app, whatever it might be, and apply AI in a targeted approach and leave it at just that. Don't expect AI to be this magic wand that's going to solve all of your problems. Find where it fits, find where it's appropriate, and apply it. That's the 5% that works. Okay, speaking of 5% that works, we are going to build some new features here. So that is what we are working on here. Let's take a look at where we're at in our product. So right now we are launched. We have capability for people to create locations, add reviews, photos, amenities, a handful of different things to each location so that you can find your spot that you want to stop. The next feature that we're building is we're going to add in the capability for parents to specify the age of their children so that when I'm searching for stops, if I want to find a stop in the next 5 miles, I want to find a stop that's good for my age of kids. What might be a good stop for toddlers, McDonald's with a play place and a playground in it, that might not be appropriate for my kids who are teenagers. So having the capability to specify when this person left this review about this location being good or bad or whatever it is, what age were their kids, so that I can filter that out or filter that into the locations that I'm looking for. So again, trying to provide further flexibility, further capability for a user to find that perfect stop for their family in their current state. So, okay, so we have a handful of stories that we've created to make this happen. Step 1 is we have to update the database schema, and that is GitHub issue number 214. So let's get back to Claude. So let's clear every time we start something new. Every time we start something new. I will say it a third time. Every time we start something new, we clear the memory. We start from scratch. Again, the whole goal is to keep the context small. So let's start clean. Let's start fresh. Every time we do something new, hit that clear. Okay. So GitHub issue, we need to work on GitHub issue number 214. Please build a plan to, we're going to use our architect sub agent. Using the architect sub agent, build a plan to deliver on the asks in this issue. Make sure that any plans you build align with Claude.md. Think hard and use ref MCP for documentation support. Okay, let it go. So again, we are using Claude's sub-agents. We use the product owner sub-agent that I created to define the milestones and the issues in GitHub, and now we're working on that first issue for this milestone, and we've asked the architect sub-agent to go and define an implementation plan for how we want to make this happen. Once that's done, once we're all agreed, we're all on board, we'll then have the full stack dev sub-agent go and make it a reality. That's one thing. So we are using Drizzle for our ORM, which has a very well-defined, very consistent pattern for generating migration files and managing that. Every time, though, Claude wants to manually create the migrations. I have not figured out the appropriate words to put in the markdown files to get Claude to remember or to use the built-in migrations without me having to give it a nudge. So if anybody's figured that out, let me know. That is one of those annoying issues that just continues to creep up. So I'm just waiting for this to happen here because I know it's going to happen. Okay. It looks like I was wrong. Claude did remember that we use Drizzle. It is going to lean on that to create the migrations, which is good. I'm sorry, Claude. I may have jumped to conclusions. Maybe I just have a little bit of scar tissue built up because of the number of times you've got the migrations wrong. That's okay. I don't understand why we're running a build. It's weird. I'm not sure why Claude is running a build to create an implementation plan. It's interesting. We're going to bring this in here and talk about this one. Okay, we'll just let it go. All right, here we go. What do you have for me, Claude? Add field to user table, child birth years. Yes, yes. No. Oh, auto-generated. Okay, this all looks good. Yes, let's do it, Claude. You got the plan right. Good job. Now let's make it happen. I think my next step for this channel is I'm going to start a second product using a different AI technology. Which one should it be? ChatGPT 5 just dropped. Should I use their coding tool? Or should I use Grok? I don't know. If you have a request for a specific AI tool that you'd like me to use on my next project, drop a comment below and we'll see which one is most popular, and then we'll start a new project in the next week or so using that. So whatever you want to see, drop a note in the comments and we will make it happen. Yes, we need to run generate. We should have No, 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 no. We should not be manually adding indexes in the migration files. The index should be defined in the schema.ts file, just like we do with all DB changes. This should be defined as our standard in Claude.md. Please fix this issue and follow our standards. See, I just said, Claude, you're doing the migrations right. And I was so excited because for the first time, Claude decided to use the migration just like we asked for it. But now it decides randomly, we're going to manually add indexes. Yeah. So let's look at these. Whoa, whoa. Where's... Wait a minute. What did you do? What did you do, Claude? Where is... Oh my gosh. I just was so excited because Claude started to do things the right way. It was creating the migrations, using our tooling, not trying to do it by hand. It did it right. It was off and running. And then it decides, oh, here's a one-off index. I'm just going to like slide in the migration file, not updating our schema files or anything. We're just going to sneak that in there. Never done that before. That's not our standards. No idea why it's doing that. Really frustrating. This, my friends, is why you must keep an eye on your AI coding tools. Don't just let it run. What? Okay. We are nearing the point. Yeah, look. There's no... Okay, no. You have... Because you tried to edit migration files by hand, we have .sql files missing in our migration folder. We need to start over from scratch. I'm going to revert all changes. Yes. I just discarded all changes. Start over and follow all standards as defined in Claude.md to make this happen. Now we're a little sketchy. This is one of the situations where I'm kind of nervous because Claude got slightly off base, and I've decided to try and correct in the moment. That has a tendency to slowly increase scope of the context that we're asking Claude to work with. And we've seen, and there's data backing, that the more context you're asking it to work with, the more hallucinations that happen, the more things go wrong. So we're going to see how this goes. The right answer might be start over, start fresh, clear the context, clear the memory, do it from the beginning. We'll see how it goes. Okay, let's see what you've done. Okay. That looks good. Okay. This all seems reasonable. We're back on track. There's a chance, ever so slight, that this might work. Because boy, when you get off target just a little bit, Claude has a tendency to just continually get slightly off target. So be careful. Be careful out there, my friends. Okay, we should be in a good state now. All right, a couple test changes, no big deal. Okay. So that's that. We're going to knock this out here. Yeah. The number of times, let me start over. One of my biggest lessons is when things get off track, it's often better to start over. Figure out what context you provided to Claude that allowed it to get off base a little bit. Start fresh by creating new context and tweaking that part that was missing that allowed it to get off base. If you try and have a conversation with Claude, that's where things start to go awry. That's where I've had really large problems. When I start working with it, when I work with Claude, like I'm working with another human and we start to have a dialogue, that's when I found Claude really starts to struggle. Claude does way better when you provide him with clear, definitive steps, usually in one shot. And keep those one shots small. Don't try and one shot a whole app, maybe one shot a feature. That's when things go well. All right. Claude has declared victory. Let me do my things. Let me make this bigger so you can read this. I still manually run everything by hand because I still manually check everything because there have been many instances where Claude has declared victory and Claude has said all tests are passing, all linting rules are passing, when in reality, most of them are passing. So I have yet to reach a point where I've gotten it to always validate that everything's passing. So I take the 30 seconds and run everything by hand. Makes me feel better. Saves me time down the road. Okay, cool. Everything looks good. We are going to... Okay, cool. So let's go back. This all looks good. Claude, well done. Create a branch in PR so that we can get this code reviewed. Now, what you'll notice is this issue, all I did was update the schema and the tests that went alongside with it. I didn't attempt to build the entire feature. This whole feature that I'm adding has 12 different issues that I've created that iterate on top of each other. I do this so that we keep the context as narrow and skinny as possible for Claude. That increases the likelihood that you're going to be able to successfully deliver on this. Whenever I've asked Claude to implement an entire feature, full stack, front to back with everything, I've found that I have a lot of back and forth. I have a lot of issues where it starts to get off course and starts to do things slightly wrong in part of that entire stack. So I've adopted the pattern of really breaking down all of the work into really small chunks that iterate on top of each other so that by the time we do these 14 issues, we have the work done. Okay, we have a pull request ready to go. Let's get you added here so we can see it. All right. Pull request is live. Pull request is happening. That has triggered both CodeRabbit and Claude Code to do a code review. Interestingly enough, they do often find different things. So there is value, just as in the human world, in having multiple people. Jeez, I can't speak. Just as we find in the human world, there is value in having multiple people review the code. Both Claude Code and CodeRabbit are reviewing this PR, and they will find different things. They have found different things historically. So I keep 2, sometimes 3 different AIs to review the code to keep both myself honest and Claude Code that's doing the work. So we'll wait. We'll let that do its thing. In the meantime, what we'll do is we'll go back here. We will clear context, start the conversation anew, and we will ask Claude Code to start working on the next item in this list. So GitHub issue, I would like the architect subagent to build a plan for implementing GitHub issue number 215. This plan must align with all patterns and practices defined in Claude.md. Think hard and build a great plan. Feels very Trumpy. Build a great plan. Make plans great again. That doesn't feel right. All right, so this next layer is we now have the schema defined. Now there's a handset. Jeez. The first step was getting the schema updated, making sure the types are all set, everything's good to go. So we now have the basic functionality of ages of children on a profile. So now we have these helper functions that we want to create that we know we're going to need to manage these things, because we are storing birth year, but we're going to show age of children. We store birth year so that as time moves on, we can recalculate age of children, and we don't have to ask the user to go and update it because your kids are a year older now. Like, that's annoying. We should not ask them to do that. So these are all the helper functions that are going to make sure that we can, in the user interface, display what the user is expecting, while behind the scenes we're storing the birth year. Okay, let's take a peek. All right, Claude is done. I don't think we need duplicate birth years. Could be allowed. I mean, you could have two kids born in the same year. Unlikely, but possible. Okay, so that's good. Waiting for Code Rabbit to finish up. Claude Code gives it a thumbs up. Code Rabbit's still doing his thing, so we'll let that go. We will go back to see how Architect is doing. Okay, Architect has a new plan. This all looks good. All right, so that's good. Before we get started, before we let that go, Code Rabbit is still thinking. Code Rabbit. Rabbits are usually speedy. What's the problem here, buddy? Okay, looks like you did it. Okay. No, we're not going to mess with that. Type. No, Zod takes care of that. I'm okay with that. All right, so this is the only one that's interesting here. So I'm going to spin up another Claude. Okay, so we're going to ask, review all PR comments on PR. What number is that? 225. Build a plan for how we should respond to each one. Make sure any plan you devise aligns with Claude.md. The plan mode. Okay. So yeah, I I do think this one has, that shape does make sense. It probably shouldn't be years. It should just be an array because that's what we're storing in the database. Okay, what do we got here? Add check constraint. I don't want, no, I don't want that. I don't like any of this. I think I'm just going to make the change there. So we're saying, what file is that? Schemas. Why is that not? So does that, that should do it. Let's see. I mean, we're not using it at all, so we don't really know yet. This is all hypothetical. We'll find out when we start putting it in practice, but yeah, that should do it. Okay. All right, so we're going to update the PR. We should be good to go. All right, so that will have to go through, run all the builds, all that jazz. So, okay, we'll wait for that. Wait for that, then we'll wrap it up here. That would be good to go. Okay, so lessons for today. Let's see. Your key takeaways. 95% of AI projects are failing. But don't panic. Don't panic. The issue is us. The issue is humans. The technology is fine. Just as with most projects that are out there, most technology projects, the problem is not the technology that was selected. Your app isn't failing because you chose to use NextJS versus some other JavaScript framework. It's failing because you implemented it poorly. So this data validates that 95% of the projects are failing, not because AI is busted, but because we still aren't using it right. people are over applying it or misapplying it. So make sure that when you're bringing AI into your product, into your process, whatever it is, that you give it a tight, narrow scope. That's how you win. That's what the 5% success rate validates. It validates that if you ask it to do narrow scope, this piece of this workflow, it's going to work. When you just throw AI at it and say, solve all your problems, when you ask it to vibe code an entire app, surprise, surprise, it's not going to work out. Okay. Let it do its thing, and I'm going to sign off. So I thank you all for tuning in. Everybody that showed up to the stream, had a comment, whatever it is. Reminder, we are going to start kicking off another project here, and I would like to use something different than Claude Code. So in the comments below, let me know what AI tool you'd like me to use. ChatGPT, DeepSeek, anything else, whatever you want. Let me know. We'll give it a shot.